Hello friendies, welcome back. It's Sam and today I'm filming the video that I most wanted to film, which is how to use crystals in your witchcraft practice. So I know a lot of people go out and they buy crystals and they decorate them on their altar, but they don't really know what to do besides that. They just kind of look at them and they're like, oh, do these things work on their own? Do I have to do something? Are they just pretty rocks? What do I do? So I personally love using crystals in my practice, and these are just the methods I have found out. I'm sure there are many others out there that people have come up with, but these are just the ones that work for me. And yeah, let's go through them. So the first thing I have written down here on my notes is emotional healing. And this is, I think, the most common reason crystals are used. And they're also what they're known for. When you look up crystals' meanings, you find that they're usually for emotional healing. For example, rose quartz helps strengthen your self-love, amethyst can help you with anxiety, citrine helps soothe depression, so on and so forth. When I know that a day is going to be challenging or I haven't been feeling well mentally, I will take certain crystals around with me and use those to help my emotional healing. For example, I've used rose quartz for self-love, and one day I had to go to a class that I hated because the teacher kept making us watch really sexist movies without having a discussion about how the sexism was bad, and this class would make me so angry. Like, I could feel my anger boiling over. So I randomly grabbed a yellow aventurine before I ran out the door, and I kept him with me all day. And of course that class made me angry, and I got out and I was just clutching that yellow aventurine, and all of a sudden, like, I just kind of felt my anger slowly leave me, and my anger was replaced with happiness and kind of an appreciation for life. Like, I was looking out at the trees like, wow, these trees are really gorgeous. So different crystals can really help you with different emotional healings. Like I said, I have an amethyst bracelet that I wear, and this amethyst bracelet is charmed to help me with my anxiety. So when I'm anxious, I can rub it or just kind of interact with it, and it will help quell my anxiety. When I was back in college, I would take a little baggie and put some crystals in it that I felt drawn to that day, and I would take crystals in that baggie with me and kind of use them throughout the day, like using amethyst to calm me down, using rose quartz to soften my heart, using green aventurine to help me feel more creative. Emotional healing is so good for crystals, but you have to look up the meaning, and a lot of times you do have to charm the crystals with this specific intent. Sometimes rarely, they will work without you doing anything, but it's always better if you do charge your crystals, because that will amp up the effect you have with them. Also, remember to always cleanse your crystals after you buy them from a store or someone gives them to you. Make sure you always cleanse them, because you don't know what kind of energy they were holding before they got to you. The next thing I want to talk about is physical healing. I will die on this hill. When I first got into crystals, I was really skeptical that a rock could physically heal you. Like, that sounds nuts, right? It's like, oh, that's kind of pushing it into the fantasy realm, but no, it's true. These crystals can really help you, and I didn't believe it until it happened to me. I use crystal physical healing all the time. I have asthma, and I'm not saying holding, an amethyst or an aquamarine to my chest is going to get rid of my asthma. No, that's not how this works. What physical crystal healing does is it helps alleviate the pain or the symptoms you're experiencing. So when you look up the meanings of crystals, you often see the emotional side, you see the spiritual side, and then you see the physical side, because every crystal has something physically it can help you with. Once again, you need to charge your crystals with what you want them to help you with and set that intention so they know what they're supposed to be doing. I have a lot of problems with sinusitis. I had, I think last year, 3 bouts of it, and right before we moved to Chile, I got it again. So I took my little aquamarine dude. He helps with sinuses, sinus pressure, lung problems, things like that, and I just put him on the spot where my sinus congestion felt the worst, which was right here on my nose, and just kept him there. And it felt like he was sucking all that sinus pressure out of my nose. It was amazing. And I moved him up here to where I had sinus pressure, or down here to where I had sinus pressure, and as long as he was on the spot, the pressure was gone. But as soon as I took him off, the pressure built up again. It was amazing. I could not believe how quickly this works. I've also used lapis lazuli to help with migraines. I get really bad headaches, really bad migraines, and I don't really know what the cause of them are all the time. And so I was having a really bad headache, so I took this little lapis lazuli, I boop, 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 told her to suck up this headache and get rid of it, kept her on my head, and anytime I had that crystal on my head, the pain was gone. And as soon as I'd take it off, the pain would come back. It's crazy how well these crystals work with physical healing. If you watch any kind of advertisements like on YouTube or TV, you'll see that little roller, that little face roller thing for your skin that's made of rose quartz. That's because rose quartz helps with face and skin irritation, so like acne and stress. You're supposed to roll it on your skin because rose quartz helps with your skin. That's why it's on there, and people are using it and they have no idea that it's a crystal, and crystals do help with physical healing. So I really do love using crystals for physical healing, but please let me make it clear, if you are really sick or really injured or are really having problems, nothing can replace the help of a therapist or a doctor. Another thing crystals are really good for is cleansing and charging. A lot of people will take their little tarot decks and they'll put a crystal on top of their tarot deck like this, boop, and they're just like, okay, it's gonna do its thing. No, you have to cleanse your crystal and you have to charge it before it'll do that same thing for you. So why people put crystals on top of their tarot decks? Like, for example, I know a lot of people put clear quartz on top of their tarot decks because clear quartz is said to dispel any kind of energy and kind of keep their tarot decks neutral and keep the energy on their altar neutral and keep negative vibes away from it. I've personally put fire agate on top of my decks before to keep negative energies away, or I've put rose quartz on top of my decks to give them kind of a loving energy, a soft energy. I know people who will take crystals and charge them and put them in certain parts of their house to kind of stimulate certain emotions in that house. So for example, maybe put some rose quartz in the bedroom, or put some crystals that relate to talking and good conversation in the dining room. Malachite is a great crystal to keep radioactive waves away from you, so it's good to put those, you know, maybe as a keychain on your phone, or put them near your computer. If you're at your computer a lot, they really help dispel those radioactive waves and keep your area cleansed, keep you cleansed. Clear quartz is one of the most popular to use because it's kind of a catch-all crystal, but I know a lot of people use it for cleansing. There are so many of these crystals that are good for cleansing. A lot of the darker crystals like black tourmaline, snowflake obsidian, fire agate, hematite are good for cleansing. They get rid of negative energies, or they absorb negative energies, or they dispel negative energies. Citrine is also another good one for negative energies because it looks like the sun. It's the color of the sun, so it radiates sun energy, and it can chase away negative feelings like depression or sadness or melancholy. Another one of my favorite things to do with crystals is sleeping with crystals. So if you haven't kind of gotten the idea by now, crystals, each crystal has its own energy, and I believe that within those different energies, each crystal reacts differently with every person. So you may be thinking, well, how do I learn a crystal's energy? How can I learn how it will be most beneficial for me to use? Well, my friend, this is when you start sleeping with your crystals. Sleeping with crystals is one of my favorite things to do to learn a crystal's energy. And what I mean by sleeping with your crystal is, I mean taking your crystal, maybe putting it in a little bag. I don't always do this because I'm just lazy, and putting it in your pillowcase or putting it under your pillow and sleeping, or you can even put them beside your bed. The crystals will influence your quality of sleep, and they will influence your dreams, and this is how you learn how this crystal can best benefit you. For example, I bought both a howlite and a selenite piece because I am someone who has tons of sleeping problems. I've always had sleeping problems ever since I was 14. All different kinds of insomnia. I have anxiety, so I get stress dreams, just the whole 9 yards. So I bought a howlite and a selenite to help me sleep, and both of these crystals knocked me the F out. The howlite really helped me to stop stress dreaming. I would have stress dreams that would wake me up in the middle of the night, making me feel like I didn't sleep at all. So the howlite really helped me to stop stress dreaming, and it gave me really pleasant dreams. If you do sleep with specific sleep crystals like howlite or selenite next to your bed or under your pillow, just be careful. They are very strong, and sometimes you will wake up feeling really groggy. So if you wake up feeling really groggy, maybe put it next to your bed, or maybe put it on your windowsill a little bit further away so its effects won't be so strong. But they don't have to be just used for sleep. My friend was going through a kind of a depressive period where she was feeling really sad all the time. So she took her smoky quartz, put it under her pillow, went to sleep, and she said she woke up and that was the best she had felt in weeks. She felt just happy for no reason, and she felt very recharged and re-energized. I slept with yellow aventurine under my pillow one time, and I had a reoccurring nightmare, and don't laugh at me when you hear my reoccurring nightmares, but it was zombies. So in the dream, there was a zombie apocalypse, and me and my family were trapped in a house, and the windows were open and the zombies were trying to get in. Instead of just running scared like I usually do in these dreams, because you know, fear overtakes you, you just kind of want to get away. And instead of running away, I actually used magic. This is kind of like a fantastical magic. I used magic to seal the windows and put up protection spells to keep the zombies out. And I kind of took charge and protected my family. So I really think that yellow aventurine was reminding me of my power and how strong I am, and that I can do anything I put my mind to. And the yellow aventurine told me to trust in myself. Malachite, I've used malachite under my pillow before, and it didn't really affect my dreams, but I'm someone who has to fall asleep with my phone in my hand because I can't, like I told you, I have insomnia, so it's not easy for me to fall asleep naturally. I can't just lay there and close my eyes and go to sleep. I'll be awake for 5 hours because my thoughts won't shut up. So I use the repetitiveness of Twitter or something like that to help me fall asleep. But I put malachite under my pillow, and malachite is good at dispersing radioactive energy and things like that, and the malachite helped me fall asleep without the use of my phone. It helped me fall asleep naturally, and that was such a good feeling. If you're really curious about your crystals, put them under your pillow, put them next to your bed, but also have your journal, your grimoire, your book of shadows, or your journal, or your phone next to you when you wake up, so you can immediately record when you wake up the dreams you experienced, the quality of sleep you got, so on and so forth. Kind of related to sleeping with crystals is also meditating with crystals. It's another good way to learn your crystal's energy and kind of learn what it's there to help you with. So when you're meditating, just kind of hold it in your hands. Or what I like to do is I like to put specific crystals that correlate with the chakras. So like on the heart chakra, put a rose quartz. On the throat chakra, put aquamarine. And just kind of meditate with the crystals and see what happens. See what kind of visions you get. Pay attention to how your body reacts physically, how your emotions are reacting, what kind of, like I said, what kind of visions you're getting when you're meditating, all that. And just like with the dreaming, make sure you have your journal next to you so you can immediately write everything down that you thought of, because it may not seem important at the time, but when you go back and look at it, you're like, wow, that all makes sense now. It's all coming together. And so you need to write down everything, even if it doesn't seem groundbreaking at the time. It might be later. Another thing that I think crystals are really good for is divination. So if any of you have a pendulum, your pendulum is probably made from a crystal. And I've seen rose quartz pendulum, I've seen clear quartz pendulum, I've seen obsidian pendulums. So your pendulum is probably made from a crystal. And I have not experienced a lot of crystal pendulum work, but I do think that the type of pendulum crystal you get probably has an effect on your divination. Also, another thing that I was taught about is called crystal throwing or crystal divination or crystal scrying. And what this is you use crystals to kind of predict, like you would tarot cards or oracle cards or pendulums. So what you do, there's two ways I found to do this. I'm actually trying to get more into crystal throwing and learning more about it, and I'm practicing it right now. And what you do, there's two ways. So you take a bunch of crystals in a bag and you toss them out onto a mat, and depending on where the crystals land, you use the meanings of the crystals to tell you a prediction. So for example, if you have a group of 3 crystals together, then those 3 crystals' meanings all should be read together. Kind of like if you had a tarot spread and you drew 3 cards. Those are your 3 cards. You read those 3 crystals together. And the ones that are closest to you, if you're doing the reading for yourself, are, you know, the ones that are in your future or relevant to you right now, and the ones that are on the farthest side of the board are the ones that are in your past or not so relevant to you. Another way you can do crystal divination, which is the way I do it because it helps give me direction, is I have a board. And this board, I wrote all the things to me that are most important in my life, such as creativity, strength, mentality, past, relationships, future, spirituality, career, finance, social, weakness, and health. And what you do is you throw your crystals onto this board, and for example, if a rose quartz landed in my relationship category, then I know that my relationship is doing good, or I'm gonna have a lot of love in my relationship, or maybe there's even some healing that needs to be done in that relationship. So you kind of read it like that, and it's really interesting, especially for someone like me who loves crystals so much and has always loved crystals. I just really like this idea of divination with crystals, and it's not something that I've seen that's talked about very often. Another thing that crystals can be used for is for boosting your spells and rituals. Now, I think this is another one of the most common ways that crystals are used. When you're performing a certain spell or a certain ritual, using certain crystals can help amplify the effects of your spell. Make sure the energy of your crystals relates to the type of magic you're doing, and they will offer you a boost. For my money ball, I used tiger's eye, I used smoky quartz, I used clear quartz, I used citrine, and I used pyrite to help boost the energy of my crystals. For a self-love spell, you can use pink opal, you can use rose quartz, you can use flower agate, you can use moonstone, you can use rainbow moonstone. For protection spells, you can use black tourmaline or obsidian or fire agate. These crystals can help bump up the power of your spell and ritual and really help take it to the next level. So the final thing I want to talk about when it comes to using crystals in your practice is also another one that I think is relatively known, and that is charming some jewelry. So for people who wear jewelry like earrings or necklaces or bracelets, you know, a lot of it you can find in metaphysical stores is already woven into bracelets. I have a fluorite bracelet right here, an amethyst bracelet right here. I also have a rose quartz tree of life necklace. And you can charm these pieces to help you with whatever you need. So like I mentioned earlier, my amethyst bracelet helps me with anxiety. My rose quartz necklace helps me with self-love. For my sister, I gave her for Christmas a goldstone necklace because that was her favorite crystal that she picked out. I charmed that necklace to protect my sister from the negative energies of others and people trying to suck the happiness from her. I charmed that necklace to remind her that it's okay to be sad and that being sad is normal, but I also charmed that necklace to remind her to be happy, and anytime she wears it, it will fill her with happiness of the sun. Charmed jewelry is a great way to use the positive effects of crystals daily. So like I said, maybe if you work in technology, you can have some malachite earrings or a malachite necklace. If you work in a stressful environment, maybe have some amethyst around, you know, some amethyst earrings, an amethyst necklace, an amethyst bracelet. You know, just kind of do your research about what crystals would be the most beneficial for you and use those for your jewelry. And they look cute too, so. So yes, friends, that's all I have for you today. This is how I use crystals in my practice. And if you guys use crystals in your practice in a different way, please let me know. I want to hear about how you guys practice and what kind of ideas you have, especially if you like crystals, because I also love crystals and I love using them. Yes, so thank you guys so much for watching. It was so fun to make this video. I've been wanting to make this video for a while because I know crystals are something that a lot of people like, but they just aren't really sure how to take them to the next step, what they're really used for. So that's why I wanted to make this video for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.